There comes a time in every life when the weight feels too heavy, the darkness too thick, and the odds insurmountable. That moment, that precise moment, when your knees tremble, your vision blurs, and your will is tested, is not a signal of your end. It is the tolling bell of your rebirth. Your breaking point is not the collapse of who you are. It is the construction site of who you're meant to become. Do not curse the pressure, for it is pressure that transforms coal into diamonds. Do not dread the storm, for it is the storm that awakens your true endurance. Every great accomplishment, every towering triumph, every victorious life, was once balanced precariously on the edge of despair. The difference was not in circumstances, but in decision. When others gave in, the ones who became more, the ones who became decided to rise. Pain has a purpose. Struggle is not your enemy. It is your sculptor, chiseling away doubt, fear, and weakness until what remains is unbreakable, unstoppable, and undeniable. When you are brought to your knees, you are in the perfect position to choose. To stand again, to transform, to declare that you will not be shattered by this, but sharpened by it. There is a voice within you, quiet but constant, whispering that you are not made for mediocrity. That voice grows louder in hardship. Listen to it, follow it, for it speaks the truth of your potential. In your breaking, your true self begins to emerge, not smaller, not scarred, but stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the mountain you were born to climb. So when everything seems to be falling apart, recognize that perhaps it is falling into place. That moment, your lowest, your hardest, is not the end of your story. It is the forging of your legacy. Let your breaking point become your becoming point. Rise, because greatness begins exactly where you thought you could go no further. There comes a moment in every journey where the weight becomes unbearable, the path ahead disappears in fog, and the soul trembles under the burden of uncertainty. It's the kind of moment when you feel like everything you've worked for is slipping through your fingers, when the voices of doubt grow louder than your convictions, and when each breath feels like a negotiation with defeat. This is the breaking point, the edge of everything you've known, the ledge where your strength wavers and your spirit is tested. But here lies a great paradox. What feels like your end is often your beginning. The breaking point is not the crumbling of your dreams, but the very foundation upon which new, greater ones are built. Most people fear this point. They dread the pain, the instability, the chaos of things falling apart. But what they fail to see is that such a moment is sacred. It is the place where illusions are stripped away and only truth remains. At your breaking point, you are forced to confront yourself with brutal honesty. The masks fall, the ego shatters. What is revealed in that raw, unguarded space is your core, your essence, untainted by pretense or pressure to perform, and that essence is where true becoming begins. Adversity doesn't break you. It breaks what is no longer meant to stay with you. It shatters limitation, outdated beliefs, and false identities. It tears down the walls you built to feel safe, but which secretly kept you small. When life brings you to your knees, it is not humiliation. It is preparation. You are being cleared of everything that cannot go with you to the next level of your destiny. It is in this emptiness, this hollow, doubt space, that the seeds of greatness are planted. Those who have achieved anything lasting, anything legendary, will tell you the same truth. They met themselves for the first time when everything around them fell apart. Before the triumph there was torment. Before clarity there was confusion. Before becoming there was breaking. The world will see the rise but rarely the ruin that preceded it. What they applaud is the result. What they overlook is the reckoning that birthed it. But it is in the breaking that the soil becomes fertile for true transformation. You will never know the depth of your strength until strength is the only choice you have. You will never know the power of your vision until you are walking blind and still choose to move forward. The breaking point strips away everything artificial and demands a deeper kind of courage, the courage to trust the process, to believe in yourself even when there's no evidence yet of success, and to continue showing up when everything in you wants to quit. Every time you think you've reached your limit, life will challenge you to expand, not to punish you, but to pull out of you a greater capacity you never knew you had. Like a muscle, Your spirit grows through tension. Your capacity for greatness is stretched at the edge of collapse. And just as the body rebuilds stronger after a tear, so does your soul after a trial. You emerge not weaker from your breaking, but wiser. Not diminished, but defined. This moment is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to show you what you're made of. When your plans unravel, when your path is blocked, when you are forced to let go of what you thought life should be, something remarkable happens. You stop living from the surface and start living from your center. You begin to act not from fear or ego, but from conviction. You are no longer driven by what the world expects of you, but by what your inner knowing demands. That knowing only awakens in the dark, it only whispers when the noise has stopped, and it only leads you forward when you've been brave enough to stand still at your breaking point and listen. When we think of pressure, we often associate it with stress, with discomfort, and with something that can only break us down. It's easy to see pressure as an enemy, something to avoid, to resist, or to escape from. But in truth, pressure is not the enemy, it is the great revealer. Pressure is what transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. It is the force that brings out the best in us, often when we least expect it. Just as a diamond is formed under extreme pressure, so too is your potential unveiled when the weight of life bears down on you. The truth is that pressure doesn't break you. It shows you who you really are and brings out the greatness that lies dormant within. In life, we all face moments that test our endurance, our will, and our ability to remain standing. These moments are not designed to crush us, but to catalyze our growth. Pressure is like a sculptor chiseling away at the marble to reveal the masterpiece hidden inside. Without pressure, without challenge, we would remain stagnant, untested and untapped. The very things that seem most difficult, the burdens that weigh us down the hardest, are often the very forces that shape us into who we were meant to become. When you are under pressure, you are forced to rise to the occasion. You are forced to go beyond what you thought were your limits. Every single great achievement in history has been built on the foundation of pressure. The lives of those who have done extraordinary things were not easy. The people we look up to as icons of success have been forged in the fires of adversity. They did not reach greatness because life was simple. They reached greatness because they were tested, stretched, and pushed beyond their comfort zones. The pressure was their teacher, and it revealed within them qualities they never knew they had. Think about the times in your own life when you faced immense pressure. Perhaps it was a personal loss, a professional setback, or a challenge that made you question your ability to continue. In those moments, it might have felt like you were breaking, like everything you had worked for was slipping away. But what did you do in that moment? Did you crumble, or did you rise? Pressure forces us to make a choice. It either drives us to shrink or it pushes us to expand, and in the moments where we choose to rise, that's when we tap into the potential we never knew we had. It's important to realize that pressure doesn't just show up in dramatic, life-altering moments. It can be the quiet, persistent kind, the pressure of expectations, the weight of responsibility, or the daily grind of life that never seems to stop. Even in these subtle forms, pressure is at work, shaping us in ways we don't always recognize. It's easy to overlook the smaller pressures, but they too serve a purpose. They stretch us slowly, building our capacity for greater challenges ahead. Every pressure, no matter how small, is an opportunity for growth. And as we build our capacity, we become more resilient, more capable, and more prepared for the bigger challenges that will come our way. The beauty of pressure is that it brings clarity. In times of great stress or difficulty, when everything seems uncertain, you are often forced to make decisions that bring you closer to who you are meant to be. Pressure forces you to simplify, to prioritize, and to focus on what truly matters. It strips away distractions and gets to the heart of who you are. In that moment, when you are feeling overwhelmed by pressure, you have the opportunity to decide what you truly want and what you are willing to fight for. If you can understand that pressure is not a force meant to destroy you, but a force meant to reveal you, then you can begin to embrace it. Rather than running from pressure, learn to lean into it. Understand that it is in those moments when life feels most challenging that you are being shaped into something greater. Pressure is not the enemy, it is your partner in growth, pushing you to become the person you were always meant to be. Just like the diamond that emerges from the rough, the pressure you face today is the force that will reveal the brilliance within you tomorrow. Pain, in its many forms, is often seen as something to avoid, to escape, or to resist at all costs. The natural instinct is to run from it, hide from it, or push through it in the hope that it will disappear. But the truth is, pain is one of life's most powerful teachers. It is not a punishment, but a catalyst for transformation. Pain, in its deepest sense, reveals more about who we are and what we are capable of than comfort ever could. It is the forge where we are shaped, the fire where we are tempered, and the very force that sharpens our strength, resilience, and character. When we learn to embrace pain rather than fear it, we open ourselves up to growth in ways we never imagined. Pain comes into our lives in many ways. It can be physical, emotional, or mental. It can show up as the sting of loss, the weight of failure, or the anguish of unmet expectations. It often feels unbearable in the moment, and it can make us question everything we know about ourselves and the world around us. But the key to understanding pain is recognizing that it is not an end point, it is a process. It is the middle ground between who we were and who we are meant to become. Pain is a bridge that, though it may seem dark and lonely, leads to the other side where transformation awaits. It is the catalyst that forces us to grow, evolve, and ultimately find a strength we did not know we possessed. When we experience pain, it often forces us to slow down, to reflect, and to go inward. In those moments, we are confronted with our vulnerabilities, our limitations, and our fears. But this confrontation is not a sign of weakness. It is an invitation to become stronger. Pain strips away the layers of pretense, ego, and false security, leaving only the raw truth of who we are. In that vulnerable state, we are presented with the opportunity to rebuild, to reconstruct ourselves in a way that is more authentic, more grounded, and more aligned with our true purpose. Pain teaches us humility, patience, and resilience. It shows us that growth is not always comfortable, but it is always necessary. It is important to understand that pain is not something we can control or avoid. No matter how carefully we plan, how prepared we think we are, pain will find its way into our lives. And while we may not have control over the pain we experience, we do have control over how we respond to it. The way we choose to navigate pain shapes the person we become on the other side. We can let pain break us, or we can let it build us. Every trial, every hardship, every painful moment is a choice point. Will we allow it to define us negatively, or will we use it to transform us into something stronger, wiser, and more resilient? In the face of pain, it is easy to feel helpless or powerless. But it is precisely in these moments of feeling broken that we often discover our greatest source of strength. Pain is not a sign that we are weak. It is a sign that we are alive, that we are human, and that we are capable of overcoming challenges that we never thought possible. Every time we endure pain and rise again, we build a new foundation for the next phase of our lives. Our capacity to endure, to overcome, and to grow expands with every painful experience we navigate. The pain we face today may feel overwhelming, but it is shaping us for tomorrow in ways that we cannot yet see. There is a power in pain that can't be found in ease. While comfort may soothe our immediate discomforts, it is in struggle that we grow. It is through difficulty that we are tested, and it is through testing that we become more of who we are meant to be. The most successful people, the most resilient people, the most fulfilled people are often the ones who have faced the most intense pain and emerged from it not unscathed but transformed. They have learned that pain is not the end, but the beginning of a new chapter, one in which they are stronger, more capable, and more prepared for the challenges ahead. The key to mastering pain is to change our perspective on it. Instead of seeing pain as something to be feared or avoided, we can choose to see it as a valuable lesson. Pain has something to teach us if we are willing to listen. It teaches us about our limits, but also about our capacity to push past them. It teaches us about vulnerability, but also about our strength in rising again. It teaches us that the road to becoming who we are meant to be is not without its bumps, its detours, and its challenges. But it is through these very challenges that we find our true power. Pain is not the enemy, it is the teacher. When you find yourself at the lowest point in your journey, feeling as though everything is slipping through your grasp, you are standing at a powerful threshold. It is easy to look at these moments of struggle and see them as setbacks, as obstacles that stand in the way of progress. The natural instinct is to see them as the end of the road, the point where everything falls apart. But in reality, these moments are not the conclusion. They are the beginning. They are the moments that test your resolve, challenge your limits, and demand a response from you that shapes the path forward. This is the moment of choice, the turning point where you decide whether to surrender to defeat or rise with purpose and determination. What defines the great achievers of our time, the legends whose names are known and whose stories are celebrated, is not that they never faced adversity, but that they refused to be defined by it. Every hero, every trailblazer, every person who has ever made an impact in the world has encountered moments where it seemed impossible to go on. What sets them apart is the decision they made in those moments, not to stay down but to rise again. It is in the darkest hours, when everything seems lost, that the seeds of your next great achievement are often planted. The lowest point in your journey is the place where transformation begins. At the point where you think you can go no further, there is a subtle shift that occurs. It is the point where your mind and your heart come together in a way they never have before. This is where your true potential is revealed, not in times of comfort, not in times of ease, but in times of struggle. It is through the most intense battles that we learn what we are truly capable of. When everything around you is crumbling, when your plans fall apart and your dreams seem impossible, you are being called to step up in a way you've never stepped up before. This is not the time to turn away from the challenge. This is the time to face it head on. It is in those moments of difficulty that we are given the opportunity to transform, to rise higher, and to redefine what is possible for us. When you stand at the edge of despair, when you feel the weight of the world pressing down on you, it is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your becoming. These moments do not define you, but the decisions you make in those moments will. The path forward, while unclear, is not one to be feared. It is a path that requires courage, yes, but it is also a path that leads to greater strength, greater clarity, and greater potential. The key to overcoming your breaking point is understanding that this point of crisis is not a dead end, but a challenge to evolve. It forces you to let go of what no longer serves you and opens the door to something new, something greater. It's a call to expand beyond your limitations and to step into a new version of yourself, one that is stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the road ahead. You have already proven that you can endure. The mere fact that you are still standing, despite all the odds stacked against you, is a testament to your strength. What feels like the breaking of you is actually the refining of you. Like metal being heated in fire to remove the impurities, the struggles you face are stripping away the parts of you that cannot accompany you on your journey. What remains after the fire is not weaker, it is pure, it is stronger, it is more resilient. It is important to remember that every step you take in the face of adversity is a step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. The things that seem to break you down are often the very things that rebuild you in ways you never thought possible. There is power in vulnerability, power in rising despite the odds, power in the refusal to give up. The more you rise, the more you evolve, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the closer you get to the person you were always meant to become. Your breaking point is a crossroads. It is the point where you can either retreat into fear or push forward with even greater determination. It is a test of your faith, your resolve, and your willingness to push through what seems impossible. The road ahead may be difficult, but remember, every great journey is paved with challenges. The key to triumph is in the ability to keep moving forward, even when the destination seems out of sight. Your breaking point is not a sign to quit, but a call to rise, to become the person capable of achieving your wildest dreams, to step into the life you were always destined to live. Within each of us lies a quiet voice, an internal compass that knows exactly where we are meant to go and who we are meant to be. Yet, for much of our lives, this voice is drowned out by the noise of external expectations, societal pressures, and the cacophony of daily life. We listen to the world around us more than we listen to the world within. We chase success, approval, and validation from the outside, forgetting that our true path lies in connecting with the voice that resides deep within our souls. It is in those moments of chaos and confusion, when we feel lost or overwhelmed, that this inner voice becomes louder and clearer, guiding us toward our true purpose. This voice does not speak in grand, dramatic proclamations. It speaks in whispers, in nudges, in moments of clarity that cut through the fog of self-doubt. It tells you where to go when the world tells you to go in a different direction. It calls you to take risks when your mind tells you to play it safe. It reminds you of your potential, even when the world may be telling you that you're not good enough. It is the voice of your true self, the one that is unshakable by the judgments of others and undeterred by the circumstances around you. This voice knows your worth, even when you may have forgotten it. In the midst of struggle, when everything seems to be falling apart, this voice becomes your lifeline. It is the one constant, the one true guide that will never lead you astray. It doesn't promise an easy path, but it promises that if you trust it, you will always find your way. In those moments when you feel the most lost, the most uncertain, this inner voice is the one that will keep you moving forward, gently urging you to keep going even when you can't see the end of the road. However, trusting this voice requires courage. It requires stepping away from the noise, from the distractions, and from the opinions of others. It requires you to be still, to listen deeply, and to trust yourself. In a world that is constantly telling you who to be, what to do, and how to live, listening to your inner voice can feel like an act of rebellion. Yet it is the most necessary act you can undertake. When you listen to that voice, you reconnect with the deepest parts of yourself, the parts that are grounded in truth, in purpose, and in power. The more you listen, the stronger that voice becomes. The more you trust it, the more you align yourself with the path that is uniquely yours. The truth is, you already have everything you need within you. You were born with the wisdom, the strength, and the ability to create the life you desire. You simply need to tap into that internal source of power. The world will tell you to seek answers from the outside, to look to others for guidance, but the real guidance lies within. The more you turn inward, the more you begin to uncover your own wisdom, your own strength, and your own potential. This inner voice is your greatest ally on your journey to becoming the person you were always meant to be. It has been with you from the very beginning, and it will continue to guide you every step of the way if you are willing to listen. This voice speaks to you in the quiet moments, in the stillness when you allow yourself to pause and reflect. It speaks when you are willing to silence the external noise and focus on what truly matters. It is the voice that nudges you toward your passions, your purpose, and your dreams. It is not loud or forceful. It is gentle and persistent. It doesn't need to shout because it knows that when you are truly listening, it will always be heard. As you move through life, there will be moments when you doubt this voice, when fear, uncertainty, or external influences try to drown it out, but it is in those moments that you must trust it even more. Doubt is natural, but it does not have to dictate your path. Trust that the voice within you knows the way, even when you cannot see the entire journey. The more you practice listening to this voice, the more confident you will become in your own decisions and in your own path. With time, you will realize that the only validation you truly need is your own. When you listen to your inner voice, you are living in alignment with your true self, and that is the most powerful place to be. Your inner voice is a gift, a guide, and a source of strength. It is always there, patiently waiting for you to tune in. In the noise of life, it may be easy to overlook, but if you learn to listen closely, you will find that it will always lead you to where you need to be. Trust it, follow it, and allow it to guide you toward your true purpose. It is the key to unlocking the life you were meant to live.